Okay, so we are going to continue our coverage over Red Robin, and we pick up with Red Robin Hit List. Now, this storyline takes place in issues number 13 through 17. When it comes to Red Robin Hit List, this is the beginning of year 2. What I mean by that is, every single story we have covered so far was year 1, and all year 1 was about Red Robin really doing more of trying to figure out if Bruce Wayne is still alive. Because remember, this is the Batman Reborn era of DC Comics. Because after Final Crisis and Battle for the Cow, Bruce Wayne was dead, and Dick Grayson took up the Batman mantle. And so with them doing that, you had a lot of changes in the Bat family. But when it came to Tim Drake, he took up the mantle as Red Robin, but his main goal in year 1 was to prove that Bruce Wayne was not dead, that Bruce Wayne was just time misplaced. Now at the end of year 1, he was able to do that. And so when it comes to year 2, it's now for him to work back in Gotham alongside with Dick Grayson being Batman, but Damian being Robin, but at the same time figuring out which time point Bruce is trapped in and to hopefully bring him back to Gotham City. Now when it comes to Hit List, this is Red Robin, Tim Drake, going after a set of bad guys in Gotham, but in a very unique kind of way. But at the same time, it's kind of saying he does have some similarities to Bruce Wayne in some areas. And you see what I mean later on in this story. And there's one more thing I do want to mention. The final chapter of this storyline takes place after Bruce Wayne comes back to Gotham City in the present day. And so at the end of the storyline, you're going to see Bruce Wayne being Batman again and beginning the process of trying to do something new across the world when it comes to being Batman. And so as we dive into Red Robin number 13, we pick up with the Bat family. You got Dick, you got Damian, and you also have Tim. Batman, Red Robin, and Robin. Now our heroes do go their separate ways, but it's really more of Batman and Robin going one way and you have Red Robin going a different way. And for me personally, this is a reminder that when it comes to Damian, he's still new as Robin at this point in DC Comics. And it shows that Batman does trust Damian, but at the same time he doesn't. Because when it comes to Damian, he was part of the League of Assassins. He was trained by assassins. Talia al Ghul, for example. And so it's Batman saying, yes, you may be Robin. Yes, I may trust you, but at the same time, don't trust you because I feel like you may go out of your way to do something crazy down the road, like killing someone. But at the same time, this is a Red Robin story. And so you have our heroes go their separate ways. Now, when it comes to Red Robin, he'll be going after one particular group. And that would be the Golden Dragons. And when it comes to the Golden Dragons, they have been around for a very long time in DC Comics. Matter of fact, I want to say they first appeared back in the 1990s at the same time Tim Drake appeared. But they're one of the smaller gangs in Gotham City that mostly has younger people as their members. When it comes to the Golden Dragons, they do have a new leader, and that would be Lynx, the latest Lynx. The first one died, and this one took up the mantle as a way to show respect to the first one. With that being said, Tim Drake is very concerned on what he is seeing right now because it seems like the Golden Dragons are trying to move into other gang territories, and that should not be happening at all. And the reason why, because in a previous storyline, Red Robin made a deal with all gangs in this particular area of Gotham to have a ceasefire, to leave each other alone, so that crime can go down in this area of Gotham City. But what he's seeing right now is the Golden Dragons trying to move into other areas and bring back gang wars in this particular area of Gotham City. Now, when it comes to Lynx and the Golden Dragons, they are able to get away because, well, Tim did something embarrassing when he was flying down into the area, and so they got away. When he does fly down, he realized that there are two crooked cops there right now. And these two cops are going to be very important. And that will be Cavello and also Wise. And again, they are going to be very important for this storyline. But something else to mention is that when it came to Red Robin, after he had all the gangs basically signed that peace treaty, he also launched something else known as the Neon Knights. And when it comes to the Neon Knights, it was supposed to be a way to have different community centers across Gotham to help out gang members or ex-gang members to find a new meaning in life, to get away from the crime life. And so right now it seems like his own projects are also being hit as well when it comes to the Golden Dragons. And you have Red Robin being able to find the new base that belongs to the Golden Dragons and Lynx. Now with them being able to listen in, he is able to learn a tad bit more about what is happening here. But at the same time, I do want to say one more thing. When it came to Lynx and the Golden Dragons, they were actually helping Tim Drake when it came to the Battle for the Cowl storyline, because things did pop off left and right in Gotham City after Bruce Wayne, aka Batman, had died. And when the city no longer had a Batman, well, the city went a tad bit crazy. But when it comes to Tim Drake, he thought he had the Golden Dragons and Lynx under control. They were trying to do more good than bad. But now it seems like she's back to doing bad things and trying to expand the Golden Dragons territories by going after smaller gangs who honestly cannot stand up for themselves. But by the next morning, we are reminded that this is a Tim Drake who's finally back in Gotham, who's finally working alongside with Dick Grayson and Damian Wayne. And so we see him making a list. Now, when it comes to this list, yeah, this one right here is not as crazy and wild as the other one we're going to see down the road later on in this story. But you do have Tim Drake go see Alfred, go see Damian, and we're also reminded that when it comes to Tim and Damian, they do not get along at all. Basically because, well, we already know Tim lost the Robin job to Damian because Dick wanted to help Damian out, to give Damian a purpose. And he made Damian Robin and said, hey Tim, sorry, you gotta go and go be something else. And Tim became, well, Red Robin. Either way, you have Tim leave because he has to go to work. And when I say going to work, I really mean more of, is Tim going over to Wayne Enterprises? Because when it came to Bruce Wayne, before he had died, he made sure to say in his will, if something happens to him, Wayne Enterprises goes over to Tim Drake. He's the one in charge of the entire company. But at the same time, this section right here is reminding us that Tim is engaged, quotation marks, to Lucius Fox's daughter, Tamara Fox. Now really, that is not true. What happened was Tamara was being confronted by Vicky Vale, a great reporter in Gotham City, and she was trying to figure out what is the big connection between her and Tim Drake. And really, it was Tim saying, I'm going to try my best to give Tim some kind of cover story so that Vicky will not find out that he is Red Robin. And so what Tamara did was say, hey, me and Tim are engaged. Now the entire city of Gotham knows that the adoptive son of Bruce Wayne is engaged to Tamara Fox, even though it's not really true. But when it comes to section right here, it's really more of Lucius saying, we have to figure out how to work ourselves out of that situation right there. But at the same time, you have something else you want to talk about. And we're not told what Tim wants to talk about, but it is very important for later chapters down the road. But he is working alongside with Tiffany Fox, and Tiffany is just another daughter of Lucius Fox, who also works at Wayne Enterprises. But apparently her and Tim and also Tamara are working on something very interesting that could affect the Dirty Cops, but also other gangs in Gotham City as well. But later on that night, you do have Red Robin go after Lynx. Now, here's the thing, because when he does go after Lynx, he goes through a character known as Eddie. And Eddie is just some guy that works for Lynx. Either way, he does use Eddie as a way to get to Lynx, but he then calls her out for a battle on her own turf to say that if you are such a great leader, then fight me right now on your own turf in front of a crowd of people and show them how great you are. And she does show up, and it does lead into a fight between her and Red Robin. But the fight does not last that long because our hero is able to take her down. Now, after doing that, his next goal is to give her over to the police department to lock her up. Except she says, do not do that because I am an undercover cop. And he's all like, what do you mean? You are too young to be an undercover cop. And apparently she is from Hong Kong and she works with the Hong Kong Police Department. And what they do is that they send in teenagers across the world to help bring down gangs across the world like Gotham City. And so when it comes to this Lynx, she's part of the Hong Kong Police Department and she was sent here to bring down the Golden Dragons. Now for Tim, he's wondering what she is saying is true or fake. Either way, for now, he's all like, you know what? Until I am able to figure out what you are saying is true, I am going to go ahead and lock you up and come back for you later. Now, once he does get back home to Wayne Tower, he does get confronted by Alfred and Damian, and you see him looking over a list of characters. And this is where we get the idea that Red Robin has a hit list. He's going after different bad guys in Gotham City. And so with this hit list, he's trying his best to bring everybody down. But what he's actually doing is using each person on the hit list to get somebody else. They're all connected in some kind of way. And once he is able to take down the entire hit list, Gotham should be a whole lot safer than it was a few months ago. And so when we jump into the second chapter, well, the first page shows us Damian examining the hit list that Tim had made. Except when it comes to Tim's hit list, Damian feels like there's something more to the actual hit list, some kind of hidden file. And when it comes to Damian, the dude is super smart. He knows how to hack into things. And so he is able to hack into Tim Drake's hit list file and find something else. And we're left to wonder, what did he find? But we jump over to Tim Drake, and when we do, we see Tim Drake going after somebody else on his hit list, and that will be Brutal. And when it comes to Brutal, I'm not gonna sit here and try my best to explain who the heck this character is, because honestly, this character is like a C-list, probably a D-list character, but he is on Tim Drake's hit list. But the girl that came with Brutal is not on Tim Drake's hit list. And so you have Tim saying, you know what? It's 2 for the price of 1. Let me go ahead and take both of them out. Now he is able to take out Brutal, but the girl does run out of the place and tries to get away. And Tim tries to follow her, except out of nowhere, a sign falls in front of him. And he had no idea where in the world the sign came from, but we see a shadowy figure watching him, and we already know that it was Tim who was the one who had cut the sign down to fall right in front of Tim to make sure that Tim was unable to go after Brutal girlfriend. Now, once you have Red Robin being able to get back to the Batcave, this continues the idea I mentioned earlier, that even though Damian is now part of the Bat family, he is Robin, they don't really trust Damian to go out on his own. It is not for the reason why, like, oh, you know, you're still new, you're in training. No, it's really more of, we are afraid that you might kill someone. And that would be horrible for the Bat family. Now, Dick is gone apparently in the storyline now. He's helping out the Justice League, which means that Tim is the one who has to watch Damian. But Tim wants to work alone when it comes to his hit list. And he tells Damian, if Dick is not back by tomorrow, then yes, the next time I leave the Batcave, you may come with me. We find out what Tim was trying to do that night by himself without Damian. Tim want to see or watch over 2 crooked cops, and that would be Cavilo and Wise. And remember what I said earlier, these 2 cops are going to be somewhat important for this storyline. But when it comes to Tim Drake's hit list, every single person on the hit list is connected to somebody else. And so when it comes to the 2 cops, he could use them as a way to go after somebody else on his hit list. And so right now, it's just him watching the 2 cops to figure out what is his next move. And so we see Tim call for a press conference. And when it comes to the press conference, what Tim is doing is really more putting pressure on the GCPD by saying they have 2 crooked cops on their payroll who's right now working with young gang members across Gotham City, but at the same time they're also working with young gang members or young ex-gang members who are trying to turn their lives around by using my community centers as a way to help them turn their lives around. Now, he does not mention the names of the 2 cops who are crooked, but at the same time, he also did not tell Gordon about this press conference. And so this is going to lead into Gordon getting very angry about the idea that Tim Drake is calling out the GCPD by saying, yeah, they got some cops who are a tad bit crooked. But later on in night, you do have Tim change back into his Red Robin outfit. He's going back out at night to go after the girlfriend who belongs to Brutal, the one that got away. Now you did have Damian say, hey Tim, don't forget that you did promise me that I'll go out there with you tonight because Batman is still away with the Justice League. And you have Tim say, fine Damian, go ahead and come with me. Except when it comes to Tim and Damian, they do not like each other at all. And this goes all the way back to the idea that when it comes to Batman, he has a lot of sons, but one of them is his biological son and the rest are adoptive. And when it came to Tim, he really felt like Batman was going to forget about him because now Batman has an actual son, a biological child. And when it comes to Damian, well, Damian was a jerk who's kind of like, hey, I'm his biological child. You are just adoptive, which means that everything he has will sooner or later come to me, not to you. Because again, I am his actual son, you are not. And so ever since then, the 2 characters kind of been hating one another. Either way, they do go out at night on patrol together. And so you do have Tim and Damian go out. And you have Tim tell Damian, hey, stay here as I go after Brutal's girlfriend. Here's the thing. Damian says no, because Damian is ticked off at Tim. And the reason why? Because let's not forget, at the very beginning of this chapter, Damian found a hidden file when it came to Tim's hit list. And apparently, whatever was on that file, it really did tick off Damian a lot. And he's so mad at Tim, it leads into a battle between the 2 characters. But this is just another example that these 2 characters do not like each other at all. Now, luckily for Tim, he was able to take down both Damian and also Brutal's girlfriend. But after doing that, you didn't have Batman Dick Grayson appear. And he is very angry at Tim and also Damian because of where they have fought at. And you have Dick show both Tim and Damian that they are fighting in Crime Alley, the birthplace of Batman. Not Bruce Wayne, but the Batman persona. And so you have Dick saying, are you serious? You 2 guys are gonna fight against each other here in Crime Alley. What is wrong with you guys? You know what? Who cares? Everyone back to the Batcave now. And so once you have the heroes being able to go back to the Batcave, this is where we find out why Damian is so mad at Tim for. And we find out the reason why Damian is so mad is because he found out Tim has a second hit list. Except this hit list is made for heroes. Just in case heroes go bad, Tim has files on different heroes on how to bring them down. But also on his hit list, he has Damian. Now, this is a very important section, and the reason why, because when it comes to Tim, he's acting like Bruce Wayne did back in Tower of Babel, an older storyline. In that storyline, we learn that Batman kept files on every single member of the Justice League, just in case they turn evil. That is why I say Bruce and Tim are very similar in some areas. But when it comes to Damian, the reason why he's so mad, because this guy has been working so hard to basically show them that he wants to be a good guy. He wants to be part of the Bat family, but he also wants to honor his father. Even though he knows that his dad is not dead, that was his original goal. And so here you are now saying, oh look, I'm your hit list. You believe that sooner or later I am going to be a bad guy again and come after you guys and kill you guys. But this is Tim saying, you don't understand. Let's say you are mind controlled. You were trained by the League of Assassins. You could literally be a threat for almost anybody in the superhero community. And so yes, I kept tabs on you just in case we have to bring you down. Now you do have Damian leave, but this is Dick saying you have to realize what you did wrong here, Tim, because for Damian, he has been working so hard to prove to us that he wants to be part of the Bat family, but to also honor Bruce. And here you are right now showing that you will never trust Damian. But at the same time as Dick saying, you're just like Bruce. And that's the problem. Because our goals as Robins or Batman, Red Robins, is to be better than Bruce. And here you are right now being like Bruce. But at the same time, I understand why you're doing this, because we always need a plan just in case anything pops off when it comes to a certain hero. But to close on the second chapter, we then pick up the two cops who are technically crooked. But right now, with the pressure that Tim has put on them by saying that there are two cops in the GCPD who are crooked, it's them right now hiring an assassin to go after Tim Drake and to hopefully kill him off. And we come to find out they have hired the assassin known as Scarab. But as we jump into the third chapter, well, we pick up in the future and we see Tim Drake going to Iron Heights to meet up with Captain Boomerang. And the reason why, because Captain Boomerang was the person that killed off Tim Drake's father. And of course, Captain Boomerang had died, but recently was brought back to life. And so for Red Robin, he's kind of like, it is not fair that you are able to come back to life, but not my father. But don't worry, sooner or later, you are going to pay back what you did to my family, what you did to my father and me. And then he leaves. Now, when it comes to this future moment, we see that Red Robin seems to be injured and kind of wondering what happened to him. And so now the third chapter is going to explain what happened to Tim Drake, where now it seems like he's an injured person. And so we have to jump back in time. And so when we jump back in time, we pick up with Red Robin breaking into Vicky Vale's apartment. Now, the reason why he is doing that, because this is actually a callback to a one-shot that was part of the Battle for the Cow storyline. But in that storyline, Vicky Vale began to believe that Bruce Wayne was Batman. And the reason why, because when Batman had quote-unquote died, Bruce Wayne had disappeared. And apparently they were told that Bruce Wayne just went on a long trip. But in reality, he was quote-unquote dead along with Batman. And so she believed that Batman was Bruce Wayne, and she began digging. And so when it came to Red Robin series, well, she just kept digging. And she's now at the point where she believes that the Bat family is just Bruce Wayne's family. Dick Grayson, Tim Drake, Damian Wayne, Alfred, Bruce Wayne. She believes that she knows the true identities of the Bat family now. And so when Tim breaks into her apartment, he sees that she is very close into finding out they are the Bat family. And so once you have Tim Drake find out that Vicky Vale believes that the Bat family is the Wayne family, when he goes back home and tells the Bat family like, hey, this is what I learned, well, now they're wondering what to do. Now, when it comes to Alfred, he said, don't worry. When it comes to Bruce Wayne, he always had this master plan, which was to use a shapeshifter and then have that shapeshifter pretend to be Bruce Wayne while Bruce was in a Batman suit. And so then the person that believed that Bruce was Batman would see two people at the same time, Batman and Bruce Wayne. And then that person will stop believing that Bruce Wayne was Batman. But when it comes to Tim Drake, Damian, and also Dick Grayson, they're saying, listen, when it comes to Vicky, she is not going to fail for that at all, because she knows that the superhero community has shapeshifters. And so she'll figure it out, okay, you guys are trying to trick me. And so what she's saying is, we have to find a different way to actually fool her and to make her believe that the Wayne family is not the Bat family. And the question is right now, how to do that. Now, for me personally, this section right here really feels like the writer of the book is saying, we are not going to use the same trope you see every single time a hero is about to be found out by somebody, where they use a shapeshifter or a friend to pretend to be them as a way to get out of their trouble. We're going to find a different way to actually pull this off. And so you have Red Robin meet up with Stephanie Brown. Now, when he does, this is really him more saying, hey, Stephanie, I need your help, because he knows and she knows the Scarab is right now in Gotham City. Now, they have no idea why she's in Gotham City, but they both know she's in Gotham City. Either way, when it comes to Red Robin, he wants to use her for part of his plan. And so he's asking Stephanie, do you know where or how to find the Scarab? Now, let's not forget, this is also a reminder that Stephanie Brown was Batgirl around this point in DC Comics, right before we got the new 52. But Stephanie Brown says, yes, I might have a way to figure out where she is in Gotham by calling up some contacts who do know a lot about her. Now, when she does call up those contacts, those people tell Stephanie Brown they have a lot of respect for the Scarab. Either way, when it comes to Red Robin, he does find someone who does fit the bill. And once she does leave the restaurant, his goal is to gather fingerprints from the cup she used at the restaurant, hoping that it might give him the true identity of the Scarab. Unfortunately, it does not. But the next day, we do see Tim, Jessica, and also Tamara going to a meeting with Jim Gordon and also the DA for Gotham City. And the reason why, because let's not forget that Tim did a press conference earlier. And when it came to that press conference earlier, he put a lot of pressure on the GCPD by saying, hey, I believe there are two cops who are crooked, who are trying to use gang members and ex-gang members to make some side money. Now, he didn't tell the world who those two cops were. And matter of fact, Jim has no idea who he is talking about. But this is Tim saying, I need your help to actually pull this off. But don't worry, once everything goes to plan, you will be able to nail the two cops who are crooked, but at the same time, it helps my organizations out when it comes to helping ex-thugs live a new life. And so we see Tim do another press conference, and this press conference is supposed to be the moment where Tim is about to say, who are the two cops who are crooked, to tell the public what he had learned, so that the GCPD can be able to take those two cops down. Now, here's the thing, because while you have Tim Drake getting ready to do that, well, we see the Scarab is about to shoot Tim Drake. She has a shot on him right now. She's about to take the shot. But then behind her, we see Red Robin. And so we're left to believe the person right now who is pretending to be Tim Drake, given the press conference, has to be a shapeshifter, while the real Tim Drake is wearing his Red Robin outfit and getting ready to take down the Scarab. Except when the Scarab is able to shoot Tim Drake, a lot of blood comes out. And so we're left to believe, what if that is the real Tim Drake and the Red Robin behind Scarab is someone else pretending to be Red Robin? Which means that would explain why Tim Drake was injured at the very beginning of the 3rd chapter. Either way, you do have the Red Robin person be able to take down Scarab. And after doing that, well, then you have the paramedics being able to take Tim Drake on the back of an ambulance into a nearby hospital. And once we do jump over to the hospital, well, we find out that Tim Drake, who got shot, is not Tim Drake, which means that the Red Robin was Tim Drake. But the person who was pretending to be Red Robin was Martian Girl, a shapeshifter who pretended to be Tim Drake. Now, the reason why they did that is because, well, they're trying to get Vicky off their case, to make her believe the Wayne family is not the bad family, even though they are. But at the same time, it also helps get rid of Scarab, but at the same time brings down the 2 cops who are crooked. And so now Tim Drake has to pretend that he's an injured person by walking around injured. And so then his next press conference after he is released from the hospital is him saying, these are the 2 cops who are crooked, who are trying to use gang members and ex-gang members to make some money on the side. And so now his master plan has went through completely. And the way the story is going, you would believe that this would be the proper ending, except it is not. This is only the 3rd chapter of the storyline. This is Red Robin number 15. We still got 2 more chapters to cover because the next bad guy is going to be Anarchy. And so as we dive into the 4th chapter of the book, we pick up with the latest Anarchy right now trying to get revenge against Red Robin. And what he is doing is he's trying to figure out the true identity of Red Robin. Now, when it comes to the 2nd Anarchy, yes, this is the 2nd one. When it comes to him, he has no idea that the Robin he fought is no longer Robin. Instead, he is now Red Robin. But on top of that, he's trying to get revenge against Red Robin by trying to figure out the true identity of Red Robin. And so we come to find out he has been killing off young boys left and right that he believes to be Red Robin. But once he does kill off those young boys, he then finds out that he was wrong. Now, the reason why the 2nd Anarchy wants to get revenge against Tim Drake is because when it came to the 2nd Anarchy, he had bombs placed in one particular area of Gotham. And unfortunately, his brother and sister died thanks to one of his bombs. But they were brought there by Tim Drake. And so ever since then, this Anarchy wants to get revenge for Tim Drake basically killing off his siblings, even though it was his bomb that killed off his siblings. And so is Anarchy saying, sooner or later, I am going to get my revenge against Red Robin. Now, like I said, this is the 2nd Anarchy. The first one was Lonnie Mackin. As a matter of fact, back in the 1990s, you would believe that Lonnie could have been Tim Drake Robin's own Joker, but unfortunately, it didn't happen like that. But when it comes to Lonnie, he was the first Anarchy for a good period of time, except he fell into a coma, and then he was put inside a machine where he is still able to communicate thanks to his brainwaves. Now, that is the first Anarchy. After the first one fell into a coma, you then had the second one step up, and that was Ulysses Armstrong. Now, like I said earlier, he is the 2nd Anarchy, but the reason why he wants revenge against Red Robin is because the death of his brother and sister. But apparently, when it came to the first Anarchy, he has been trying to talk to Tim Drake by sending out messages through the internet to Tim to say, this is what the new Anarchy is doing. He's trying to figure out your true identity. And with him trying to do that, young innocent boys are dying left and right. And so you need to find a way to stop him before things get out of hand. But then we get another press conference the next day for Tim Drake. Now, when it comes to this press conference, it's really more of Tim Drake saying he's going to take his program internationally, basically to help anybody across the world who's an ex-gang member trying to change their lives for the better, which is actually a great thing to hear, except it gets ruined by Vicky Vale, who still believes that him and also Tamara are engaged, and she wants some answers. And you have Tim say, no, we are not engaged at all. And matter of fact, if you did your job better, you would have found out the information you got was incorrect. Now, we already know he got that info from Tamara, but apparently it's Tim saying, you should have done your job better and try to figure out what she said was true before you ran your mouth to your paper and told the world that me and Tamara are engaged. But then we see Tamara and Tim go on a date. And this is a problem for Tim. And what I mean by that, in the entire Red Robin series, this homeboy has been going back and forth with Tamara. Now at first, the reason why, because he was afraid of her getting hurt with him being Red Robin, but at the same time worried that she could tell the entire world that Tim Drake is Red Robin and Bruce Wayne was Batman, and right now Dick Grayson is Batman. He was afraid that she could run her mouth. But now he's kind of like, you know what? I do want to get with her. But at the same time, there was also that brief moment where him and Stephanie also almost dated as well, or almost got back together. But right now, that has been put on the back burner. And so his focus is all on her, Tamara. And matter of fact, it's them right now on a date. And it's her asking, what are they? Or what could they be? Because she likes him and he likes her. And so he's saying, you know what? I do kind of want to explore where this goes. Now, unfortunately, he does get a call from the first Anarchy to say, hey, the other Anarchy, the new one, is on the move right now, going after another young boy because he believes that that young boy is you. And that young boy might die. You have to go and protect that young boy. And so with Tim leaving his date, he does go after the second Anarchy. And luckily he does, because we do see the second Anarchy getting ready to kill off a young boy that he believes to be Tim Drake. But luckily for the boy, you have Tim appear and begin to do battle with the second Anarchy. Now, while you have the two characters fighting against one another, and matter of fact, their battle does not last that long. But while they're fighting, you do have the second Anarchy, Ulysses, say, you have to stop fighting me. And the reason why? Because you need to save Lonnie, the first Anarchy, because he has his body, which right now is in a coma, somewhere in his laboratory, his base. But back at his base, there is a bomb that's going to go off very soon that's going to kill off Lonnie. And so unfortunately for Tim Drake, he has no choice but to leave the second Anarchy by himself and to hopefully save Lonnie's life, the first Anarchy, which he is able to do. But at the same time, it's kind of like, dang, he had to let go one bad guy to save the other, even though the other is now a good guy at this point in DC Comics. Now, after he does that, you didn't have Red Robin go by his old place where he used to live with his father right before his father died. And this reminds him of his father, what Captain Boomerang did to his father, which just killed him off. But for Tim, it's like, this sucks because he lost one father and then lost the other. Now, there is a possibility that Bruce could be saved, but at the same time, that's only a maybe. It's not a for sure answer. But you have Tim saying, at least I know I'm doing a good job right now in Gotham City. And this leads us right back to what I say, the present day, where you do have Red Robin right now confronting Captain Boomerang in prison by saying, once again, you are going to pay for what you did to my father. Now, after this chapter, the last chapter does take place after the big event that brings Bruce Wayne back into Gotham City, back into the present day. And so when we do jump into the next chapter, you're going to see Bruce Wayne wearing the Batman suit. And so when we jump into Red Robin number 17, this begins the process of wrapping up what we saw in the first chapter when it came to Lynx. Because remember, she told Red Robin, do not arrest me, do not lock me up, because I am an undercover cop working for Hong Kong Police Department to bring down gangs across the world like the Golden Dragons. And so he's all like, you're still too young to be an officer. So he threw her in jail. And so right now he's in Hong Kong trying to figure out if what she said is true. But right now he is going to meet up with Cassandra Cain. Now, when it came to Cassandra Cain, at this point in DC Comics, she was no longer Batgirl. Matter of fact, I don't know her code name at this point in DC Comics. I want to say she went back to calling herself Orphan. Either way, it's her right now going after some bad guys, and you have Red Robin saying, you know what? Let me go ahead and help her out. We also learned that before Tim Drake had left for Hong Kong, he did ask the first Anarchy, who is a great hacker, to hack into the Hong Kong Police Department to truly find out if Lynx is really part of the Hong Kong Police Department, an undercover cop. And so now we know he's trying to work different angles to hopefully figure out what she said is actually true. Now, after that moment, you did have Tim Drake go to Alfred, where he did talk to Alfred about the idea of what to do with Lynx. Should he let her go? With that being said, though, this does take place before he does go to Hong Kong to ask Cassandra Cain to give him more information about how the Hong Kong Police Department truly work. But either way, when it comes to him and Alfred's conversation, you have Alfred say, I think you need to do the right thing, which is go ahead and break her out of prison and let her do her job. Because maybe what you're hearing right now from the first Anarchy could be helpful to tell you what is the right decision to make. And so he does go and break her out. And this leads into more girl problems for Red Robin, because right after Homeboy literally breaks her out, they do the whole stare down, you know, like, oh my God, you look cute. You look cute. The whole complete stare down hotmess.com thing. Either way, they end up kissing. And this brings in more problems for Red Robin, because let's not forget, he still likes Tamara. He also likes Stephanie. He also likes this girl now. Homeboy got girls left and right. But for right now, it's kind of like, okay, I broke her out. I just kissed her, and now she just left me behind. And I'm left to believe that what she had told me and what I had learned about Hong Kong Police Department is actually true. Now, here's the thing, because what the first Anarchy told him was, yes, Hong Kong does use teenagers as a way to bring down gangs across the world, except he didn't say she was on the list. It's him right now just going with his gut saying maybe what she told me is actually true. And so when she leaves, he has to hopefully believe that what she told him is the truth. Now, like I said earlier, this issue takes place after Bruce Wayne comes back into Gotham City, back into the present day. And so when he's back, his main goal right now is to begin the process of building up Batman Incorporated. So right now, this issue is basically part of that phase of Batman comics. We're after the Batman Reborn phase of DC Comics. But either way, it's a great moment because for Tim Drake, he looks at Bruce Wayne as a father. In reality, that is his father because this man adopted him. It's kind of funny too because you have Bruce ask Tim, hey, so how are you and Damian doing? And you have Tim say, you know, Dick did a great job with Damian. He's all like, that's great. But I ask you, how are you and Damian doing? He's like, you know, like I said, Dick and Damian, great combo right there. To basically say those two guys are just not working out. But it's still a great moment, a father and son moment. And they hug. And I love it so much. Guys, not gonna lie to y'all, I had one tear in my eye when I saw this. Getting back over to the setting where it's Tim Drake in Hong Kong, this is actually a very important moment because one of the things that happened right after Battle for the Cowl and also Final Crisis, besides Bruce Wayne's death, Cassandra Cain gave up being Batgirl. Now, that could be tied into the idea of Bruce being dead, and she felt like she no longer had a family. Because honestly, after Bruce died, the family went through a lot. And so this is Tim saying, Bruce is back. The family is back. You have a home. You have a family. Why not come back? Now listen, Batgirl is taken, so you could be anything else. Heck, you could be Black Robin. I'm Red Robin. You be Black Robin. It could work out for us. But of course she says thank you and she leaves. And I really like that moment a lot. And technically with us wrapping up Red Robin, we only have a few more stories to cover before we actually dive into the return of Bruce Wayne, which is going to be really great because you know me guys, my goal to cover everything, that including tie-ins as well. But with that being said, this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So guys, I'll see y'all later. Bye.